have Translating Your Education into Commercial Success, but at the last minute we changed the title. And it is about translating your fitness passion into success. I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I have my own company. What I'd like to first do is show you guys a video clip.
A mere 7 years after my graduation day, I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded, and I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless. The fears that my parents had had for me, and that I had had for myself, had both come to pass. And by every usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun. That period of my life was a dark one, and I had no idea that there was going to be what the press has since represented as a kind of fairy tale resolution. I had no idea then how far the tunnel extended, and for a long time, any light at the end of it was a hope rather than a reality. So why do I talk about the benefits of failure? Simply because failure meant a stripping away of the inessential. I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything other than what I was, and began to direct all my energy into finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I really succeeded at anything else, I might never have found the determination to succeed in the one arena where I believed I truly belonged. I was set free, because my greatest fear had been realized, and I was still alive, and I still had a daughter whom I adored, and I had an old typewriter and a big idea. And so rock bottom became the solid foundation on which I rebuilt my life. You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. Failure gave me an inner security that I had never attained by passing examinations. Failure taught me things about myself that I could have learned no other way. I discovered that I had a strong will, and more discipline than I had suspected. I also found out that I had friends whose value was truly above the price of rubies. The knowledge that you have emerged wiser and stronger from setbacks means that you are, ever after, secure in your ability to survive. You will never truly know yourself, or the strength of your relationships, until both have been tested by adversity. Such knowledge is a true gift.
The reason I wanted to play that was just because one has failure in their life, whether it be on a personal scale or on a professional scale. You will find that ability to bring yourself out of it. Let me just see that. There we go. Who am I? My name is Sherry Morton. Sorry, I'm supposed to stay close to here, sorry. Who am I? My name is Sherry Morton. I'm a small town girl. Small town girl meaning a town of about 1,600 people. I have 2 brothers, 4 sisters, and we lived in a two-bedroom trailer, my parents and the 7 of us. I did not graduate high school. I got my GED. I did go to university, Western Illinois University, and got my degree in law enforcement administration. And my employment history, my first job was at 9 years old when chips were big, guys. Okay, back when I was growing up, chips weren't around until like when I was about 9 years old. And not only were they around, we got them free at the table. You know how you go into Mexican restaurants and you get the free chips? That was the first time I've ever experienced that. I was fired from Kmart. I worked in the automotive department. And currently, I actually run a company called Millennium Health and Fitness, or Millennium Enterprises. It began in 1993 with $1,600 on a credit card. That $1,600, basically what it did, it bought a boombox and 10 steps. Yep, step aerobic instructor here. Okay, that's where I started. I was working for the Department of Social Services in a town, Leonardtown, Maryland, and they knew that I taught aerobics, and they said, well, we'd like to contract with you to provide this service for an after-work program for our employees. So I went and put $1,600 on a young military captain's family's credit card, which was a lot of money for us back then, and started Millennium Health and Fitness. Patuxent River, Maryland was our very first contract, federal government contract. We sat at the kitchen table and wrote this proposal. When I say we, my husband and I, because he's been very supportive all through this career. And the contract was for $17,000. And for a young captain family, we'd never seen $17,000 in one place at one time ever in our life. And so we submitted it and we got the contract. And we still have that contract today. You know, that was in 1993. We still have that contract today. And it is 2014. These contracts are bid out about every 5 to 10 years, and we still have the contract. In 1996, we moved to Southern California. As any great or good wife for a military guy, I had to follow him. And in following him, we went to Camp Pendleton, California, which probably a lot of you have heard of. He was stationed there, and at this time, we've seen a huge growth in our company. And when I say huge, we went from probably $200,000 a year annual receipts to maybe about $600,000. To me, that's a huge jump, you know, in a couple of years. Today, we are a $7 million in revenue company, and we have approximately 800 people that work for us worldwide. And before you guys leave here, I do have job openings all over the world, so you need to make sure you get my job postings. Where is Millennium? That's where we're at. We're all over the United States. We are in Germany. We are in Italy. We are in the UK. We have, 5 contracts in the UK, 6 contracts in the UK. We have 2 in Italy, 1 in Germany. We have Misawa, Japan, and more contracts to come. We actually have probably about 6 contracts, proposals that we put out that we're waiting to hear on. In Phoenix, Ohio, and Philadelphia are those locations. And they manage government corporate fitness centers, is what we do. Small business, like I said, this is where dreams are being made, in the small business arena. You know, you represent what small businesses represent what this country needs. We already know that. We've heard about this through the news. We've heard of it, you know, through our political leaders. You know, small businesses are the very fabric of this country. There is high failure rate, okay? And high failure rate is due to many reasons, and we'll go into those later. Why are you here? You guys have a passion for what you love. You know, for me, my passion is business, but it's also fitness, and it's educating people. You're here because the title got you interested in coming into the room. Your curiosity got you. Say, what is this all about? How can I earn, another question that maybe you asked, how can I earn a decent living in this industry? And it is hard in this industry to earn a decent living, whether you're in the corporate America or you're in the public sector or you're in the government side. So, you know, you've got to determine, you know, is it your passion that you're really wanting to fulfill, or are you really wanting to become extremely wealthy? You can do both of those, but you've got to know how to do it. How can I become famous and wealthy? Define success. To me, this is what the dictionary says: the attainment of wealth, position, honors, or the like. You define it. What is success to you? Anybody want to answer that? What's success to you? I'm looking at the lady in the orange skirt. Yeah. Not giving up, okay. What about you, Carlos?
Just doing what makes you really happy to be successful in this.
What really makes you happy, right? What do you have a passion for, right? What about you, Sue?
The same, doing what inspires you, getting well paid.
Yeah. How do I define it? Well, I define being able to ride in first class on an occasion. Okay? I mean, literally, to me, that's success. It's being able to, and my husband will tell you, I will not buy a first class ticket at regular price. I won't do that. They think that's crazy. So I always buy the cheapest ticket. You know, I go to Priceline or I go to Expedia and find the cheapest ticket. And then I'm hoping and praying all along that I will get upgraded, you know. And so when we flew here, we got upgraded for $99, you know. But the thing about what the ticket would have been if I would have bought it right away at first class, it was $5,000, okay? I paid $498 first class for each of us to go. Spend time with the people you love. That, to me, is very important, is spending time with the people I love. That's how I define success. What is typical in the industry? Well, when you're first graduating with your bachelor's degree, guys, and you have absolutely no experience, you just have that degree, you're going to expect to be hired in as a wellness fitness specialist too in this industry. And you'll make between 25 to 35 per year, and like I said, it's an entry-level job. The assistant manager, 40 to 45K, they're going to expect you to have some experience here first as a wellness fitness specialist too. Then there's the manager, 40 to 60K. And to me, this is more in corporate America rather than in the public sector, like at Gold's Gym or at the Anytime Fitnesses. Normally in those facilities, you have to work on a commission. So you get a baseline, and what Dave Ramsey says is, and I don't know if you guys know of Dave Ramsey, what does he say? Do you guys know what he says? He says, just give them enough to where they're not too hungry. So that way when they start earning that commission, they're going to be hungry enough to get more money in their pocket. That's what he says. In corporate America and in the government contracting arena, what's nice, especially in the government arena, which is what I do business in, is that you get weekends off, you get evenings off, you're usually done by 7:30. You get a great benefit plan, you get health and welfare fees, which you get your health insurance, and you get 401ks, you get dental and vision and stuff like that. But in the Gold's Gym, public sector and stuff like that, you don't normally get that kind of stuff. You can earn a lot of money if you're working really hard in the industry for the commission. Has anybody here worked at Gold's Gym or at a fitness club? Would you agree?
Yes.
Is it commission-based?
Yes.
And you got to be real hungry.
You got to sell hard.
You got to sell hard. Yeah. So, and do they have benefit plans for you?
No.
No. So you got to determine where you want to go at. Do you want to go into corporate America? Do you want to go into government contracting? Or do you want to go into the public sector, as in Gold's Gym? What kind of people become wealthy and successful? Jillian Michaels. Everybody's heard of Jillian Michaels, right? No? Okay. Sean T25. Okay, everybody's heard of that one. Tony Horton, P90X. Your name can be you. Okay, you can become wealthy, you can become successful. One of the things I did want to say back there on the wealthy and successful, these people developed videos and programs that they actually developed and sold on Beachbody or on those infomercials. If you want to do something like that, it's going to cost you anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 just to start out to do a video. And it's going to take you 10 years. Now, I don't want to discourage you, but I want to tell you realistic numbers because I want you guys to think about this. It's going to take you about 10 years to get to that level of success like these people have in their wealth. Who are you? Well, there's koala bears and there's lions. Koala bears are the kind of people that want a regular paycheck. They don't want any risk. You know, I'm like that in some parts of my life, where I don't want any risk, you know, at all. And I want a regular paycheck too. I like a regular paycheck. There's lions. Lions are the risk takers. These are people that are going to be your entrepreneurs. They're going to be the people that want to take their passion and make it successful for them. Define entrepreneurial. It's a person who organizes, operates, and assumes the risk of business ventures. Risk. That's a scary question, isn't it? A risk. Think back when I was talking to you guys about the $1,600 on my credit card. That was scary for us as a young captain, military family with 3 kids. That was very scary. But we took the risk because we knew that I felt like it could be a very successful venture for us, and it was. You have to be an innovator. You got to think about what is it that other people are not doing out there. You know, not what people are doing, like the Shanties and the Tony Hortons and Jillian Michaels. They're already doing the videos out there. Another example of a company that I believe that we're going to see a downturn, and that's Les Mills. Why do I say that? It's because they're selling it on Beachbody now. It used to be exclusive to only instructors. Do you guys know what Les Mills is? Like the body pump, what are some of the other classes out there?
Body combat.
What is it? Body Combat. You guys can see those now on the infomercials on Beachbody. They're selling them, so they're no longer keeping it exclusive to instructors. Be a risk taker. You got to be a risk taker. You got to have curiosity. I think that's one of the things that my husband says, that I have the curiosity that, you know, how can I do this? You know, how can I get this contract in Germany and staff it? You know, that's curiosity to me. You have to be driven, and in a positive way. Driven meaning that you've got a goal set and you're headed towards it. The qualities. You got to have passion, integrity, giftedness, networking. You got to like people. Okay, if you don't like people, this probably is not a good place to be. You got to have perseverance, passion. What is passion? What is your passion? And what is my passion? Well, what is passion? Passion is just something that you feel deep inside of you that you can't do without. You want to do something about it. Like, say, for instance, passion for me is educating people. I like to educate. I like to, you know, see the light go on, you know, whenever it finally clicks. I like business. I like numbers, believe it or not. What is your passion? Someone out there, tell me what your passion is. Over here, what's your passion? Research and development, right? And how to take that research and apply it on a practical, right? What about you? Same thing, or? Development. So research, development, right there. You guys are a good team, you know, because you guys could she could do the research and you guys can bring the development side to it. What about you over there in the white?
Fitness and cancer.
Fitness and
cancer.
Great. Have you spoke to Dr. Rauch here? You need to find Dr. Rauch, okay? He worked at National Cancer Institute, and he was doing some grant writing. He's now down at another college. What's the college? St. Mary's? St. Mary's College. And he did some research on fitness and cancer. So great, because how many in this room has been touched by cancer? Family members. You know what? Just about everyone in here has had cancer affect their family. So great opportunity to really expand that. And what about you over here in the gray sweater?
I'd say preventative medicine, health and fitness, and getting very involved with.
Preventative medicine and fitness, and then
Nutrition,
bringing it all together. Yeah. You know, it's interesting because you see a lot of different ideas out here about nutrition. But if you really take and apply the true caloric needs of a body at rest, and then obviously for, you know, if you're expending more energy, it's really what people need. But then look at the nutrients. For instance, I've actually just recently cut down on the carbohydrates, and I've lost like 7 pounds, but I feel so much better too. It's because I've monitored my carbohydrate intake, and how do carbohydrates, especially as we get older, how is it affecting our bodies? And believe it or not, we become a fatter nation, which you guys know. Our kids have. Like I said, my passion is helping others, being an educator, and being a motivator. What is integrity? Let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you tell someone you're going to do it, okay? Treat people the right way. In other words, the way you want to be treated. You know what I found when we were traveling here yesterday, what I found when I looked people in the eyes and I smiled and I thanked them for their service, it just picked them up, and it's just the way I would want to be treated whenever, like I said, when I worked at Kmart. If people would come up to me and smile and shake my hand and thank me for helping them, it would make my day so much better. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. The right thing, the right way, for the right reason. Always do the right thing, the right way, for the right reason, okay? My intent for smiling at those people was not to get my way, but for me to be able to, well, you could say the word bless another person with joyfulness, to show them how joyful I was and how thankful I was for them serving me. And I got to tell you, every person that I looked them in the eyes and I thanked them and shook their hand, their whole attitude changed. They had a smile. In fact, I asked for a caramel macchiato, but I wanted it super skinny. I didn't want, all the fat in it and stuff. And the guy, I said, "Now make that super skinny for me." And he looked at me. He's like, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, "Skim milk and sugar-free caramel, okay?" And he goes, "Okay." And then he smiled, and then I smiled back. I said, "This girl's on a diet. 51 years old, I got to be able to watch my figure." And then it just made his day, Things like that for the right reason. I wanted to get a smile out of him. I wanted him to be joyful. Giftedness. What are you naturally better at than others? Can you guys answer that question? What are you naturally better at? What about you here in the blue?
Been told I'm a personable person.
You're a personable person? Okay, so you're able to talk to other people very freely, openly. You can go up to a room and just kind of light it up by speaking to just anybody, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. What about you back here in the black and white jacket?
That's a good question. I'm a good communicator, I think, with all different types of people, whether it be academia or business or kids.
Great.
I can communicate.
Great. So
Voice.
a great communicator. There you go. What about you here in the gray shirt?
I think I have good ideas.
Pardon?
I have good ideas.
Good ideas. Okay. An innovator. You're an innovator. So you got those ideas, and then you got to just take them and apply them. Yeah, great. Well, I want to know your ideas. Educator. Like I said, I've been gifted in educating. I teach all around the world on personal fitness training, Group X. I'm good with numbers. You actually have to have somebody in your business that you trust, number one, if you're not good at numbers, that you trust and they're good at numbers and they can help you out. Okay, numbers are very important in the business industry, okay? Whether it be in fitness, running restaurants, whatever it may be, you gotta know your numbers. Business mind, you've gotta have a business mind. You've got to be thinking of what are the opportunities out there for me? Where can I move? What is out there in the market right now? One of the largest markets out there. And I'm not going to tell you guys yet, but there is a huge market out there right now, and we'll get to it here in a minute. And that's where if you have a passion for these people and you got a desire to work with them, you're going to make a huge amount of money. You got to have people skills, like the gentleman over here. He and the lady back here, a good communicator. You guys both are able to talk to people. You got to have people skills. Networking. You have to like people. And you guys, you need to start developing your network now. Back in 1998, Dr. Mark Ralch, who was then just a master's student, he was pursuing his PhD, and he works here for the ACSM too, and he's a professor down at St. Mary's College. I met him. He applied for a job that I had at the Army Research Lab for a fitness center manager. And through that network, I've been asked to speak here. And so it's that network that we created, so many years ago, that now I'm being asked to speak. And then actually, we're also talking some other opportunities, aren't we, Carlos? And not Angel. Armando, there we go. You have to have a system to remember and recall. My husband, he gives me a hard time because everything's here. He says, Sherry, you've got to put it down on paper. I don't have time to put it down on paper. I'm busy, And he says, but you got to put it down, because if you don't put it down, what's going to happen when you, God forbid, you die or you get sick and you can't do it? Well, just come ask me. I'll tell you what it is. Perseverance. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. You guys have to have persistence and determination in running a business. By perseverance, the snail reached the ark. Think of how small that little snail was and how long it took him to get to the ark, and that's by C.H. Spurgeon. Perseverance. Never give up. You guys, what does it mean to never give up? I've pursued many opportunities. I probably put out, proposal-wise annually, I probably put out close to 100 a year. I fail 97 times because I don't get that contract, but I win 3 times. Then people call me lucky. It's not luck, it's perseverance. And it's not getting down because I didn't get those other 97 opportunities. It's being thankful and blessed that I got those other 3, and then scared to death because now I got to go fill these contracts. And so it's a healthy fear that you have. Like, for instance, in Ramstein, Germany, I have a position that I have to fill immediately. And it's for someone that works within the Air Force at the Health and Wellness Center on the base, at the Air Force base there. And I've got a position I got to fill. And, I mean, it needs to be filled immediately. But there's one thing that I can't find staff that has, which is the Health Fitness, I think is it HFS? Yeah, that's the certification that they have to have from the ACSM. So all my candidates that have applied, they don't have the HFS. And so if you get the HFS, it's going to make you more qualified, especially in the Air Force and the Army, if you want to work in those particular areas. Entrepreneurial method, observe change and anticipate trends. Trends. Does anybody remember the slide? You guys don't remember the slide? I see you're close to probably close.
So I did step.
Yeah, you did step. So do you remember this? The slide was a routine where it had a little slide thing, and you put on these little booties and you slide back and forth. To me, whenever they brought it out, I really thought, how is this going to work with a lateral movement on the leg? How many injuries are we going to see on the lateral movement? Because it's a lateral movement. But that was a trend. The golden rule. Blue water versus red water strategy, and then hard work. Observe change, the aging of America.
What's the blue water?
We're going to get into that. Wait till you guys will like this one. The aging of America. Guys, this is the biggest population right now for you. How many of you guys want to work in geriatrics? Pardon? You already do. This is huge. This is huge. These individuals, I'm not there yet. I'll soon be there. Another 10 years, maybe. Actually, I'm considered senior citizen in about 4. The aging of America, they have the most disposable income for you. So if you can develop a program or services that targets this particular population, you're going to become very wealthy. Okay? It's huge population. Develop programs and services to them. What are some of the changes in the industry since you began your education? What are some of the changes, guys, that you've seen? Anybody?
Functional exercise.
Functional exercise applies to the gentleman in the back. It applies to the aging of America, geriatrics, functional fitness. Okay, think about functional fitness. What does it mean to you? What does functional fitness mean to you?
Forming exercise and translate into activities of daily living.
Right, life movement, right? Kind of like biomechanics in a way, but it's actually taking, that person needs to reach up into the cabinet to get a bowl out. You've got to take and make that functional fitness and train them in that particular area. Why do you think people in the military train for the 3-mile run? They train so that they can do well, right? It's the same thing with functional fitness. You want to train so that they do well and they don't injure themselves, right? Group exercise. For me, I've seen a huge change in group exercise. I've seen a decline in it. Why do you think we've seen a decline in it? The cardio equipment, okay? The cardiovascular equipment. When it was in 1993 when I started teaching Group X here in the States, because we were stationed overseas and I taught there, but here in the States I started teaching in 93. It was huge. You couldn't get enough group exercise classes on your schedule. I was teaching 17 classes a week, you know. Then the cardio equipment came out, and now I've seen a reduction, like in the government contracts, I've seen a reduction down to a minimum of 15 classes a week. That's it. You know, not 36, not 48 classes a week, but it's because of the cardio equipment. Cardio equipment is good when it's used right and properly, because what happens on that cardio equipment, you get lazy on it. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, I get on an elliptical trainer, I'm like, yeah, I'm working out, you know, I'm moving. I don't sweat as much as when I sweat in a group exercise class. Any questions on that? Blue water versus red water. Blue water, I just want to find my notes here. It's called Blue Ocean Strategy. It's a book that was published in 2005. It was written by W. Kim and Renee Mogborn. And basically, you determine what you're fishing for. Okay, in the blue water, it's kind of like Cirque du Soleil. Okay, then the red water was like the Ringling Brothers or the Barnum and Bailey Circus. What happened back in the 70s and the 80s was that what came out about animal rights and abusing animals, okay? What happened was everybody was in the red water fishing. You know, it was the Ringling Brothers, the Barnum and Bailey circuses. They started seeing a decline in it because of the animal rights and many other things that were happening. Well, what Cirque du Soleil did is they found blue water. Nobody was fishing in the blue water, okay? And in the blue water, basically what they created was a similar type of circus without animals and with more acrobatics and stuff like that. So we can all fish in the red water, kind of like what Les Mills is doing right now. They're fishing in the red water because they're opening up themselves to the videos on Beachbody. They're trying to, what Les Mills is trying to do is they're trying to take and expand their empire, but they're not expanding it the right way. They're taking it into the red water where we're already saturated with all these videos. How many would say that we're saturated with videos? Right? Okay, would you recommend that Les Mills went into the red water? No. What my recommendation with Les Mills would be is to limit the number and types of certifications you do and become specialized specifically in those areas and become exclusive to instructors only. That's what I would recommend to them. So blue water is where you want to find your niche, where you want to find your business opportunity. Blue water is where no one's fishing. And the gentleman back here and the lady over here, geriatric, no one's fishing there. So,
Interested in it. It's too hard to get younger graduates interested in working with older adults. Because we offer in the college where we teach, we offer we do have community members come in to take a class.
Mhm.
Strengthening and flexibility class for older adults. It's
Mhm.
called Body Recall. The younger adults, the students or undergrads get into the class thinking that it's something else, and then when they realize it's a class for older adults, they drop it.
mm,
So we're just having a hard time finding undergraduates and grad students who are interested in working with older adults.
yeah. And the key is that if you don't have the passion or the giftedness or the desire to work for older people, I don't want you in my class. Okay? I want you to have that passion, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to get burned out if you don't have the passion or the desire to work with older people. But you've got to find your niche. You've got to find where your business opportunities are. Let me just see. The golden rule: let your yes be yes and your no be no. I can't say that enough. When you tell someone yes, like I told Mark yes that I'd be here, that was my yes. And I'm here. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Hard work. This is a Dave Ramsey. I love Dave Ramsey. He's got great sayings. If you guys have not listened to Dave Ramsey, you got to get on and listen to him. He's funny. Anyway, focus, intensity over time times by God equals success. Now, he says momentum. I say success. So if you have that focus, intensity, and my husband just reminded me of an example that Dave gave when we went to a course of his, and the focus intensity would be like that football player that's running down the field, and he's running as hard as he can. He's got to be focused in order to catch that football, right? And he's got to have the intensity, and over time, he's going to catch that ball. But focus, intensity over time, multiplied by God equals success. Now, what I want to do before I ask questions, I know there's a video clip here I want to show you guys, because you guys are going to be surprised at this one. And I didn't realize some of this. what I want to leave you guys with is that we're all ordinary people. And as ordinary people, we can do extraordinary things. I consider myself a very ordinary person. My mother actually was a migrant worker. She grew up here or actually not here, I keep thinking I'm in Phoenix. She grew up on a part of an Indian reservation in Phoenix, and then she did the fields, was a migrant worker all the way up through San Francisco back down. She met my dad. My dad was a factory worker, moved to Illinois and had 7 kids, and we weren't wealthy by any means. We were we would call us poor, but I'm an ordinary person that I've had the privilege to do extraordinary things with our business. And as such, you guys are ordinary people, and you can do extraordinary things. Do you guys have any questions out there about how to get started, or? Go ahead.
Well, earlier you said that you had many businesses around the world. Do you have in Canada?
None in Canada yet. Notice I said yet. That's the key. That's the key to success. Because I said yet, because we will be one day. Any other questions?
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you guys, we have some evaluations for you to fill out, and then you turn it in at the table over there. You get a ticket, and we got a lot of good free prizes for you. Free registration to next year's conference, free memberships, some books. So it's a little past the announcement.
By the way, this is Dr. Mark Rolch. All right. Mark, I spoke about you a couple times. They're going to come talk to you about your work at National Cancer Institute and stuff, NIH. Any questions, guys? I'm moving down. They had to have me up there for video. I do have little goodies for you guys. So, there you go. Yeah, go ahead. Carlos, do you have a question?
Yeah. So
These are job announcements on me too.
I guess what you're saying, all this stuff, all this stuff. I guess like since I don't have any experience, I just graduated. What like? No, I really like.
To work for us? Well, you already are a good candidate because you have your degree, okay? Depending on this particular site, what their requirement is, you could actually qualify for an assistant manager or a manager position, depending on that government contract. Because the government contract